is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
"30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee," featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and Young Guns Billy Derrick and Michael Cindric. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is a Friday afternoon. We have a good show for you. By the way, it's nice to be back home. I love Atlanta. There was a day and time I wanted to live there. That day and time has come and gone. SEC Media Days were good. Downtown Atlanta, it's a little rough. They're going to like Nashville a whole lot better a year from now. And anyway, we'll get into all that a little bit later. Watson Brown has the day off, a well-deserved vacation on his end. He has earned that right. And so young gun Billy Derrick is sitting in the number 2 seat. Billy, congratulations.
Thanks, George. When do I earn that right?
Probably about 3 years.
Dang, 3 years?
Could be. It could be a while.
All right.
You know?
I'll take it.
I mean, we're not even in August and you're asking for time off. What the heck?
I won't ask anymore.
Do you have an award-winning update ready, prepared, and looked over? You look like you're furiously going through papers. What seems to be the problem?
I've been busy lately.
Okay, hold on. We'll stall then. Can they see me right now?
Yes.
Okay, that's their problem. You all will notice that we have done a little studio adjusting. Absolutely wanted that right there in the picture. World champion Atlanta Braves. Do they repeat? Who knows? But this much I do know. They face Ohtani tonight down at Truist Park that we drove by yesterday on the way home. Ohtani will not be a piece of cake. Therefore, when we do bet of the day at the end of the show, it will not, Billy, be the Atlanta Braves.
Shocker.
Yeah.
That's a shocker. George, I'm ready for the update. Are you?
Are you really? It took you a while.
Yeah, it took me a little bit.
What was the problem?
George, just a producer. Producing ain't easy.
A lot of duties.
Lot to do.
Yeah.
But
Nice
we're ready
graphic.
for the update. And the update is powered by Justin Tucker Team with Platinum Realty Partners. They are proven to be trusted with your most personal asset. The Justin Tucker Team. Call 615-906-8458.
Item number 1.
Item number 1, George. We start in Knoxville. Tennessee has received a notice of allegations, and Jeremy Pruitt has received these. This is a Jeremy Pruitt thing, not a Josh Heupel deal. But interesting nugget on this, George. His wife Casey, as well as multiple members of the former coaching staff, were all implicated in the notice. 18 level 1 violations.
Yeah, and Watson Brown's going to join us at 4:20 for a little added perspective. Tennessee, in the allegations, gets credit for blowing Jeremy Pruitt out once all of this came to light and getting him out of there. I will resist the temptation to call it a family affair, but really, you get your wife in on the cheating?
Yeah,
that's not right.
That's kind of confusing.
Yeah, that's not good. Let me say this. It was a team effort. Boy, he had that entire staff doing something because the NCAA names a bunch of them in there.
Yeah. So that's obviously very important for Tennessee. We'll see how does that affect Josh Heupel and his team this year. That's what we'll ask Watson and we'll continue to talk about. But
here's one thought right off the bat. Anytime the NCAA pays you a visit, it's never a good thing. Okay, they don't walk in with cinnamon rolls. Normally, when the NCAA comes in, they leave a you-know-what in the punch bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not good. It doesn't smell good. And, whatever the case, future recruits in the next year or two, as Tennessee's program elevates, and we all think it is elevating, what is this going to mean as far as postseason play? Because the NCAA has a way of taking their sweet old time about all this. And so Tennessee is going to be in a little bit of a cloud of uncertainty for a while, and I don't see how that can help recruiting.
No, it's interesting too, George. This violation, this could be the final violation of a recruiting violation prior to NIL, because it's just now coming out. So that's another interesting aspect. This could go down in history in a bad way for Tennessee. So,
well, and the other thing is, people are going to say, if it's legal now, why do you care?
Well, because this happened before NIL was legal. So,
but I mean, does that lessen the penalty at all? The fact that everybody else is now doing it, flaunting it, and saying, look at us, we're doing it.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. We'll see how this ends up affecting that team this year.
Watson will know a lot about it, not only from a football coaching perspective, but the fact that he was an AD during quite a bit of his time, both at UAB and at Rice. So that's item number one. Item number two is what?
Let's go down to the Tide Pride Club, George. Alabama is the favorite over Georgia in the SEC, according to the SEC media members.
Tide Pride.
Oh, yeah. They got 177 first-place votes. Georgia got 172, nipping at their heels. And Kentucky was in third with 4 first-place votes.
I mean, that is a real show of respect to Mark Stoops and the job that they have done at Kentucky to even get on that list. So Bama by, let's say, a nose over Georgia. And, to be honest,
everybody else,
we can't sit here and say, gee, big surprise here.
No, but next year and the years to come, this may be one of the final years Alabama is still ahead of Georgia, especially with that Kirby Smart contract. So Kentucky, though, they're nipping at their heels also. You know who else got a first place vote?
They're not nipping at those two's heels.
Okay, not nipping, but they're behind.
Now, I will say this. Kentucky plays Georgia in Lexington late in the year. I think it's in early November. I wouldn't mind having a ticket to that game.
Look out.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great atmosphere in Lexington for that one. George,
item number
let me say one more thing.
Oh, you got one more.
Before
we go to this would be item 2B.
Item 2B in the SEC East. Vanderbilt got 1 first place vote.
Uh-huh.
And for anyone saying that was me that voted on that is dead wrong. And I expect better of you.
Did you even vote?
No, I did. I think I could have, but I did not vote.
Right. So, let me also say, I did not vote.
There was a joke on Twitter saying Skip Bayless was that one Vanderbilt vote.
I like that.
Yeah.
Good creativity.
Oh, yeah.
Do we move to item 3?
Let's go to 2B, George.
2B?
2B, Deshaun Watson is in Cleveland. He is a Cleveland Brown, and he has reported to training camp. He's with his new team, but they're going to have to continue to wait to see whether he will actually face a suspension this year and whether he may actually see the field.
Well, first of all, the Browns have to plan that at the start of the regular season, it will not be with him. There's no way they can sit there with a straight face and believe that he will be their opening day quarterback. So Jacoby Brissett is the likely replacement. He's been a very serviceable NFL backup, probably not quite at starter level, but very, very close. So they have that luxury. And then what was it yesterday? They signed Josh Rosen.
I think so. Yeah.
In a tryout. And anyway, I don't know. Look, I don't pretend to know what all the lady who has to make the decision.
Sue Robinson, a retired federal judge.
Yeah, I have no idea what all she's having to weigh in this. But I do think that it would sure help the Cleveland Browns if by the time their training camp opened, that she dropped the hammer in one form or fashion, because you know as well as I do, when the Browns report, the only thing people are going to talk about is that issue. And if she doesn't get that off their table, it will be a loony bin for a training camp.
If there's any team, any city that can handle that and have handled a few loony bins, it's the Cleveland Browns.
I think I'm right. He can, no matter what she rules, he can play in preseason, but not if she rules that he can't play for a certain number of games in the regular season, then his preseason stuff is going to be very important.
Yeah, 25 women, of course, accused Watson. And one down, George. One of them was dropped after the judge ruled the petition had to be amended to include the plaintiff's name. So 1 down, 24 to go. I guess that's how it works.
So I believe that was item 3. I don't know why it qualified as 2B. I'm very confused about that. Why did you go 2B?
I thought I'd throw in that Vandy first place vote in the SEC East.
Okay. Item 4.
Item 4, George. We stay in the NFL. GM Kevin Colbert apparently wanted Ben Roethlisberger out before last season. So Steelers GM didn't want to see Roethlisberger on the field last year.
Well, yeah, and what better options did he have?
Not many.
Mason Rudolph? I mean, look, I don't doubt that there were some issues internally between Colbert and Ben Roethlisberger, but it's not like he had any better options.
No,
he didn't. So I'm not sure the reason Big Ben decided to bring this out, but he did. And I guess all I have to say on it is, what better options did Colbert have?
It's kind of funny. They're both retired now, Colbert and Roethlisberger. So they're both done with NFL. They are out.
Item number 5 is insane. Listen closely to this.
So, George, Wander Franco, he was down in Florida on a rehab assignment, and he had $650,000 worth of jewelry stolen from his car.
So it was bling bling on steroids.
Yeah, $650K.
I mean, what the hell's he doing with $650,000 of bling bling in the car?
That's what the players do now, George. They got to wear all that. They got to wear 3 different necklaces. They got to wear a bracelet.
Whatever.
I mean, you've seen Ronald Acuna.
I mean, you're asking for trouble. If you go to my car and you're looking for anything that has value.
How much money you have in your car right now, George?
Well, I was trying to think about that. Golf clubs, golf shoes. They obviously aren't doing me any good.
It's a nice set.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe about $300.
The problem is not the clubs. I'm the problem. But monetarily, I mean, how many people do you know who have $650,000 worth of jewelry in their car?
I don't know anybody.
That's insane.
Well, the car was a Rolls-Royce SUV, and the alleged serial thief grabbed a safe he found in the vehicle containing 7 different pieces of jewelry, some of which he later sold. So that thief is probably making some return on that.
Okay, I realize I'm a little cynical about this. Do you contact your insurance agency on this and say, "Hey, we've had a little issue"? Okay,
I don't know that he needs to. I mean, $650K is a lot, but
it may be a deck chair off his future Queen Mary.
Exactly.
As far as his earning potential, he's a terrific player, but this is stupid.
Yeah,
that's $650,000 of bling bling.
Bling bling.
Are you kidding me?
It's nuts.
Yes, which is why he doesn't play for them.
Ronald Acuna better be careful.
Yeah, you might be right. Okay. So do you have anything to read? You certainly got in your reading in Atlanta.
George, we are no longer in Atlanta, so I don't have to continue with all the reads. Although we did have great sponsors, great coverage last week, and we thank everybody that was a part of that. But nothing else, George.
We thank the SEC, the College Football Hall of Fame. They were terrific. That said, I am thrilled to be home. could not wait to get out of downtown Atlanta. I think I like Cobb County a little more right now than I do Fulton County.
It's not your granddaddy's Atlanta anymore.
No, it may not be. Okay, when we come back, we'll check deeper into the University of Tennessee issue today. Watson Brown will join us by phone from a site yet to be determined, and he'll have his 2 cents worth when we come back. This is the George Plaster Show on Main Street Media Television.
For Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity to serve and satisfy their clients. Whether you are looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and remodel is unique, luxurious, completed on time, and within budget. Contact them today to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects by logging on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs, from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you. When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with a tractor-trailer truck that hurt my legs so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor-trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Bart Durham Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor-trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
At WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics, we pride ourselves in providing access, innovation, and a patient experience second to none. Access to care and treatment when you need it. Innovation with medical-led cosmetics and various on-site technologies for full-service treatments with a customer experience that is calming, casual, and effective. Independently owned, providing medical, surgical, pediatric, and cosmetic dermatology and more. Visit WellSkinMD.com to schedule your appointment today. WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics. Access to healthier skin. Have you heard about the high levels of radon in Middle Tennessee? Radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer, second only to smoking, and has no color, no taste, and no smell. The only way to know if you have radon is to test for it. Duret Radon Mitigation offers testing for small and large-scale residential and commercial properties, plus mitigation services. Visit DuretRadonMitigation.com to request testing or get a free estimate for mitigation. That's DuretRadonMitigation.com.
This is a big moment for the show. Today, officially, we're going to be able to take phone calls, and at 5:20, we're going to do that. And I'm going to want to load up some calls today because it's been a while since I've been able to do that. The first call, we're just going to try it out, make sure everything works, is Watson Brown, who joins us from Cookeville, Tennessee. Let's see if we can bring him up there. Watson, how are you?
George, I'm good. I missed you guys, so I thought I better call in.
Well, is it that, or is it the fact that maybe you were out playing golf and we caught you in mid-round?
Ha, ha, ha. No. I happen to be working on the grounds today, George.
On the grounds?
We've had a full work on the brown DeRosa here.
Are the cattle pleased?
The cattle are probably pleased, yes, even though they're all laying in the shade right now. But yeah, they're pleased.
Watson, I know you've read up on what's going on today in Knoxville. Give me your first reaction to what you saw.
Well, that's pretty serious. I mean, you got 18 major violations. I don't know where that would fit through all the schools that have gotten in trouble. SMU's was totally different because they were repeat guys, but that's a lot of violations, George. And you know, I have to giggle a little bit because when this happens, I've never been at one that it did, but when this happens, you go one of two ways. You lawyer up and take them on 100% and say you didn't do anything, number one, or number two, you fire everybody and open your doors and say, come on in, let's get this over with. And Tennessee did it the second way, which probably speeds it up a little bit, to be very honest.
Isn't it likelier the path that gets them the lesser of penalties?
Yeah. I mean, if you get caught, you'd rather have helped out in every way you can, giving them access to whatever they need, than it is take them on in every direction. Absolutely, there's no doubt about that, and I think that will help them. And I give them credit. They put an investigation together pretty daggum quick. And you remember back then we were saying, well, they're just trying to get rid of him. Well, I really think they knew there was quite a bit here.
Yeah.
And then once they got in there, they did get rid of him. So I don't think this was we just want him out of here. He's not our coach. He don't fit. They were breaking rules, man, and they had to let him go.
Watson, give people, because you've got athletic director experience and you know exactly how these kind of things play out. So they've gotten the notice of allegations. Now they have the opportunity to respond. Is this going to be a lengthy, drawn-out process?
Well, it'll be on them now. I think I remember when this goes down, you get 90 days to respond. It's either 90 or 60. And they could respond very quickly and say, we accept all of these allegations against us, or they could hold on for a while and say 16 of these we agree with, these 2 we don't. That's the next step. And then the NC2A has a couple of months to where before they come back and give you what the penalties are going to be. So you're looking at probably somewhere around 5 months for everything to go down.
Watson, let me try this one on you. The NCAA, in a lot of cases, doesn't appear to have the power they used to. They've also been accused over the years of being very vindictive. Is this likely a scenario where they say, we're going to show you that we still have power? Do you worry about that for Tennessee?
No, I don't. It happened during the old times. The things they got them on, they could get them on today. I mean, a wife can't pay a kid today in the NIL. The wife can't go out and just pay car payments. You can't do that. You can't bring kids to campus in a dead period. And they brought quite a bit and called them unofficial visits. You can't bring an unofficial visit or an official visit. Don't matter. You can't bring a kid to a campus. You can't see a kid in a dead period, much less bring him to your university. And they not only brought them, they paid for them to be there, put them in hotel rooms, fed them, everything. So these things are still penalties today. You can't do that. So I don't think so. I think they'll come down and do what they normally do. And I don't know what that'll be because I don't in front of me and can't remember, George, just how serious this is in number of allegations. It looks pretty serious to me, but maybe over the weekend we can study it a little bit and see what some of the past programs that have gotten in trouble, what they did and what they were penalized for after looking at it.
Watson Brown obviously is on the line with us from up on the plateau. Watson, you've been a head coach, although I don't think you've ever had to deal. I could be wrong with being a head coach and facing some of this. So if you're Josh Heupel, and certainly yesterday was, an upbeat, very positive kind of day for him in Atlanta, and all of a sudden he gets this what in the punch bowl 24 hours later. What does he do now? How does he handle recruiting where these kids are going to be asking him, are you even going to be eligible to compete at the level that you think you're going to get to?
Well, I've never been around this at all. Any place I was head coach, whether it was my program or one I followed, I've not been with it. But believe me, he knows exactly what was going to go down before it went down. He knew the violations before they got them because their own university would have had them. So I'm telling you, they'll have a plan. I think their plan is going to be get this done as fast as you can for the reason you just said. They don't want it hanging out there and not know what it is, and then other programs are going to say, well, you don't want to go there. They won't go to a bowl for 2 years or something like that. I don't think it'll be that because the coach isn't here anymore. I think that eases the pain, whether anybody thinks it should or it shouldn't. In the past, I think that's eased the pain. And I think they'll get something. I don't think it'll be as bad as what maybe some are saying, or maybe some of the universities are already saying. If this happens within a 5-month period, happens somewhere in November, that's right around that signing date, that early signing date. That's a key date. So I would bet you Tennessee's going to try to get this done before that date. That's what I would bet.
Watson, on a lighter note, Billy's about to ask you some questions, but they hit a picture that got a little too close to me, and it was not a good sight.
Ooh, not good at all.
No.
I've told them keep that camera away from you now.
I've tried to go with the philosophy less is more.
Less is more, and just keep putting up that picture by your 2 and 5 number right now. That's the one they want to show.
You know what? You can take that 2 and 5. You can take that 2 and 5 and shove it. I'm now 3 and 5.
Oh, excuse me.
But I'll tell you,
you did win last night.
Oh, it was. Do you know what happened?
Crazy story here.
No, I don't.
Okay, so the Dodgers are up 5-0, and we're listening to the game driving home, and I'm pretty fired up. The Giants, right as I get home, hit a grand slam to tie it at 5-5. Go ahead 6-5 in the 8th inning. Klay Thompson's brother hits a booming triple off the wall to tie the game. I fall asleep. 2 batters later, Mookie Betts, Nashvilleian to Nashvilleian, 3-run homer in the bullpen. Plasmo wins.
How about that?
Mookie saves the Plaz. Headlines in the Nashville, Tennessee.
No
Mookie
question.
Watson,
saves the Plaz.
We need your blonde hair back here to counteract George's face. That's what we need back in the 2-shot.
Oh, yeah, my blonde hair will counter it every time, bud.
You just pipe down over there. Do you have questions for Watson?
I've got a question for you.
Do you really?
Yes, I do. Watson, let me ask you, 18 level 1 violations. That's that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Does this affect this year's program? George talked about recruiting, but does that affect the psyche of these guys, the players, any of the coaches? We know it's affecting the fans, but do you think what degree does it affect this team this year?
None. I don't think it'll have any effect on the football team. They're ready to roll. They're positive when it comes to talking Tennessee football when the season starts. Thank goodness this will take over. Right now, a little bit with 2 weeks before you start practice, we'll hear about some of this stuff. But no, that's the one good thing I think, Billy, for the football team is that this will not affect any of those guys unless there was a guy still on the team named in it, and I don't think that to be true. I saw 12 staff members.
Yeah.
I think it was 12 different staff members named. My gracious alive. It was rogue. It was just rolling. It's just all kind of stuff. But the stuff I saw that's definite They ought to get on by that now. They know they had those kids on campus in a dead period. That's big deal. You can't do that. And so I would turn it in and go. That's what I would do if I'm Tennessee. I think like 90 days, I'd turn it in tomorrow if I could and just go. Now, they do no more. If there's a couple of 3 on there that they disagree with, now you got to make a decision. You got to make a decision. Do I really fight this? And if we win these 3, how much is it going to lower the penalty if we do win them? So if it's me, and there's so much that's just there, you see, there's not much you can say about it. I mean, you got proof that his wife paid cash to car payments. If you got proof there was all kind of recruits on campus during the dead period, I let it go and get it done as quick as I could.
Watson, to me, it doesn't feel like this has damaged the Tennessee program to the degree that maybe some national pundits might think. You know, it feels like whenever a piece of news like this comes out on Tennessee, national pundits are ready to pounce. But it feels like this program and everyone involved with Tennessee football, it feels like a monkey is now off their back now that they have that this is behind them. Or am I going too far in that, you think?
Yeah, it's a little too far, Billy, because they don't have the sanctions yet. When they get that, then it's over.
Yeah.
But it's not the same AD. It's not the same coach. It's not. Most of the players are gone. I'm not sure how many are even left that were there under Pruitt. There's some, but not a whole lot. You're right. It's a different program. And boy, when you're sitting there now, you'd rather be Tennessee just opening up and saying, we're going to look into this ourselves. We're going to give it to you quick. And then you got open access in here instead of taking them on. That's going to help this clean up quicker, number one. And I think it'll cut the sanctions down, number 2.
Okay. Your gut feeling when this is all said and done, how do they hit Tennessee?
Maybe some scholarships. I hope it doesn't get to a bowl. I don't like affecting the kids that are on a team that win 10 games and can't go to a bowl. I think that's absolutely awful. I'm hoping scholarships, and over a few years you take scholarships away, and it could be quite a few number, and that does hurt, believe me. But I hope that's as far as it goes myself.
Help me with this last thing, Watson. Am I right? They have the ability now to go either NCAA committee on infractions, or they have this new thing that they can choose to go with that's a kind of third party.
Bill, I think you're right, George, but I've been out now 6 years, and I'm not totally sure this. I know there's another party involved, yes, a group of people. I don't know if you have a choice or not. I would think they had the old days. It wasn't the same group of people that put the sanction that gave you what they found. You went in front of a different group that then wanted to take what you got, and they looked at what the other group found and what you're fussing about or saying you didn't do. That's the old days. Now, I don't know now, because you're right, there is a different group, and I don't even know if this new group is the one that investigated Tennessee or not. I'm not sure about that. But the thing I am sure about, everything I'm reading, and I hadn't even seen them all. I don't think they've listed everything where we can see it, but everything I'm seeing, it's definite. There's no he said, she said here. No, we didn't do. I just don't see it. There was some definite stuff in there. They could penalize them big time just on the dead period and paying for athletes to come to your campus during the dead period. That's big in itself.
Okay, I lied.
So I think,
Watson, I lied even though I didn't intend to. I got one last thing. Doesn't Jeremy Pruitt now have to come out and say, hey, yeah, we did some of this. I feel terrible. I know it wasn't the right thing. Doesn't he have to respond in some form or fashion?
I don't. Just watching him through all this, and he has got a $12 million amount of money sitting out there where
Mm-hmm.
he's suing Tennessee trying to get. I don't think you'll see him do that. I don't think his lawyers would let him.
And Tennessee has refused to pay that money. And
Yes.
it'll be interesting to see because there has been the threat of a lawsuit, but thus far nothing has been filed.
Yes, but there's still that threat, and this could stop the threat. This could end it all. But I just don't see Jeremy now, after all he said about we hadn't done this, they just wanted me out of here, whatever. I don't see him coming back now and saying, oh, yeah, we did all this.
Yeah.
But the good news is Josh Heupel knew all this. Probably knew it before he took the job, if you really want to know the truth. Probably knew it before he took the job, a lot of it.
He probably knew
And,
it was serious.
Yes, I think he knew it was serious. They're prepared for this. Nothing that came out shocked them. I can promise you that too. And let's just watch it now. I would bet a lot of money that Tennessee speeds this process up. That's what I think.
Watson, thank you for the visit. Have a great weekend. Go back to the hired help and give them their assignments.
Thank you, buddy. I'll see y'all Monday.
See you,
Did
Watson.
you like that? Come on, I thought that was pretty good.
He's
I
not.
thought it was real good. I give you one.
You didn't really
Blind hog
respond
find an
much.
acorn every once in a while.
Talk to you. See you Monday.
Bye.
Watson Brown joining us from the plateau up in Cookeville. We have not heard the last of this story, but I do think for sure Watson's right about one thing. This probably kills any shot there ever was of Jeremy Pruitt getting paid the rest of the contract at Tennessee. I just don't see it.
I'm with you.
Okay. When we come back, Billy and I will have some thoughts about SEC Media Days in Atlanta. It was fun. I am glad it's over. Stick around.
Hey everyone, I'm John English. This is Keith Wallace, and we would like to welcome you to John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee.
We specialize in graded and ungraded sports and non-sports card, vintage wax boxes, and unopened cases. We have a large selection of PSA graded cards. We also specialize in old sports collectibles, baseball, football, basketball, golf, and tennis. You can find it all at John English Antique Sports and Cards.
We are happy to be associated with Nashville's greatest sports antique, George Plaster.
At Sumner Funeral and Cremation, our mission is to serve families as our own, celebrate the life of their loved one, and help begin the healing process.
My whole family, including my wife and my mom and siblings, were very happy with the treatment that we received. I would highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation.
We offer funeral, burial, cremations, and pre-planning services.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
I've done sports, I've been a photographer, I've been an editor, I've been a producer, I've been a reporter, I've been an anchor. I mean, I've done every job you could possibly imagine this. And so sports was a way to have fun and be different. But then I realized community is where it's at, and community and local and doing places and going, seeing people. And, sports, you go to a stadium, everybody celebrates and they go their different ways. But community-wise, there's so much going on.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs, from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you.
It's It's your last chance to get a spring tune-up for summer. Complete Service Heat and Air can clean your coils, check out your motor, and make sure you have cold air on that first hot day of summer. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. That's 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties.
Welcome to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Urban elegance with a vintage touch. Our 800-room hotel opened up in the fall of 2013 with 746 guest rooms and 54 suites.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
We made it.
So we have our phone lines working. I will tell you now, we will open the phones at 5:20. And I want a bunch of red-blooded Americans who want to talk some sports to get on the lines. I haven't been able to do this, honestly, for about 3 months. So I'm looking forward to seeing where you all go with this. And anyway, jot down that number, 615-588-2998. Now, I'll tell you up front, there'll be a little voice, a recorded voice that comes on there and says, "Who are you and what do you want to talk about?" Do us a favor and play along with the voice and tell them, "I'm Joe from wherever, and this is what I want to talk about."
Tell them Plaz sent you.
Yeah, something like that. And it'll really help us because this is a part of our show that is important. It has always been important to me that you all be allowed this opportunity. We have got this ready and raring to go, and I think it's going to make the show even better. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. You're darn right I am. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what SEC Media Days were like. Obviously, item number one, next time they do it in Atlanta, put the Braves at home. What the heck?
They knew you were coming down, George. They were not gonna have the Braves at home.
It was hard to leave last night knowing Ohtani would pitch tonight. Now, in all seriousness, Billy, let's talk about it. One of the things that now goes on more than it used to, say, 20, 25 years ago, the coaches don't want to say anything. They really, honestly don't want to talk. And a lot of it is pablum.
Yeah, George, it was really interesting to see the difference between each coach. Now, you had kind of, I think there were a few tiers of coaches. You got your Nick Saban, you got Billy Napier. You've got those types of coaches that they're not going to give you anything. It's going to be all coach speak. But then you've got the Lane Kiffin, you got the Mike Leach, you've got those coaches in that sort of mold. Jimbo Fisher,
Jimbo was hilarious.
Talking at 1,000 miles per hour.
I've never talked to anything like that. So somebody asked him, "Why do you talk this fast?" And he said, "Because the faster I talk, the quicker you all get your questions out, and the quicker we get the hell out of here."
I felt bad for the script writer. You know how there's somebody writing.
Oh yeah, there's
somebody writing every word down. There's no way they got it for Jimbo.
So Jimbo, for me, was I would put him and Lane Kiffin as the most refreshing and the most entertaining to listen to. Just once, I want to hear a coach say, "No, I really don't like the other guy at, Lambert Tech."
A lot of respect for that coach.
Oh,
a lot of respect.
Everybody respects everybody, and you're like,
Lane Kiffin, he brought up the golf ball fiasco, and I think he signed a mustard bottle while we were there. We didn't see it, but there was a video of that. And then Josh Heupel actually fired back with a little joke. He said, "I wish I had a golf ball that day."
Right.
That caught everybody a little off guard, but And you had the Clark Lee comment. Yeah, there's a few little comments from coaches. You had Nick Saban. Everybody talked about NIL. I mean, there was a question to every coach about NIL, transfer portal, the new age of college football.
You get tired of hearing it. After you hear it 14 different times, you want to go into the yes, thank you. Thank you. Well done. Let's talk about Clark Lee's thing for a minute, because on one hand, there was a part of me going, please, this is not realistic. And in fact, my belief is that in the NIL world, the gap between Vandy and the rest of the league has gotten wider. So on one hand, I don't know why he said it. If he's not able to back it up with, obvious improvement in years 2 and 3, he'll end up regretting saying it. On the other, you sit there and say, well, isn't that what they're employed to do, is try to get their programs to a national level?
Yeah, I mean, it was really interesting, George. I talked to Jordan Rodgers, former Vanderbilt quarterback, played under Coach Franklin at Vandy, and he loved it. He loved hearing Clark Lee say that. And then I talked to Paul Feinbaum a little bit later on day 4 on Thursday as he was wrapping up his show, getting ready to wrap it up, and he just goes, that's an absurd statement. He said, that's an absurd statement. Vanderbilt needs to start worrying about being the 13th best team. They need to win an SEC game before I start taking them seriously. So there's always two sides of the spectrum. And for Vanderbilt fans, I think, probably the majority of them are in the Feinbaum mold right now because they haven't won an SEC game under Clark Lee. And I think before they do, that's when most people, the majority of reasonable, logical people will take that team seriously. But
why do you think he opened himself up to this?
That's who he is. That's who Clark Lee is. He coached under Brian Kelly, a guy that would say certain things like that. And that's what he believes this program can do. I mean, he's that type of guy to where he's going to speak it into existence. And I know SEC media days, a lot of quotes these coaches will say, we've talked about talk is cheap. But you can't be about it if you don't talk about it and if you don't preach it.
Yeah,
so
but it's a lot easier. Hold on. It's a lot easier, though, to say, listen, here's what we expect in year 2. We expect to be better at tackling. We expect to be a team that's in a lot more games and have a lot more shots to win. And by the way, we could also use a little more of our own fan base's support while we're at it. We need a little bit of that help too. And I guess I'm not sure I know why he went down that road.
Yeah, I mean, it was surprising. And, I feel like he kind of said it under his breath a little bit, George. It didn't seem like he was as confident as he should have been saying it. He said it a little bit under his breath, but those words came out of his mouth and it got people talking. I think that's what, obviously, talk is talk. You got to perform on the field. But I do think Clark Lee and this program, they wanted to make a statement in Atlanta. And, whether they did or not, they were in the news. They found a way to be in the news on Tuesday. And that hasn't happened. It's all been bad. And a lot of people joked about this, but I think a certain recruit will look at that and say, what do they got going on over there? Now there could be other recruits that, like a typical fan will sit there and laugh at it. But whatever the case, George, they did what they could to make a statement, and that's what Clark. That's who he is. That's what I go back to. I'm not saying I believe in it. I'm not saying I agree with him.
Is it though? I've never seen anything like this from him before. Anything this brash.
I think he learned a lot after last year's media day. He's learned a lot in the past year at Vanderbilt, and he's a lot more confident in himself. It rubbed off on the players. It rubbed off on Mike Wright. I mean, you heard him. We played him on the show last week, and I mean that confidence is pretty impressive. I mean, he's got swagger. He represents himself in Vanderbilt, the Vanderbilt program very well. But at the end of the day, George, it comes down to winning games, and majority of fans, Vanderbilt fans, college football, general fans will not buy into this unless they win an SEC game, a couple SEC games. And so talk is talk. You got to go out there and do it. That's the bottom line.
One of the most impressive people to me at these meetings was Stetson Bennett. This is a kid that has gotten ripped by everybody, me included. And somehow in what feels like a movie, he comes back to help lead Georgia to a national title. And he never really went down the road of, none of you respected me. I used it. I have a chip on my shoulder. I kind of liked that.
Yeah, and he had a lot of fans around him, a lot of reporters. I mean, there was a crowd following him every second of his appearance in Atlanta. And what a story, George. I mean, that's literally what dreams are made of.
It's a movie.
He was a kid. He went to every Georgia game, grew up in and around Athens, Georgia, walked on at Georgia, ended up winning a national title. I mean, it's just as impressive if when he made his first start, much less win a national title. And so, I know there are certain Georgia fans that, to an extent, wanted him to go ahead and leave the program. That's what I've heard from a lot of Georgia people.
Oh, sure.
But he's got us. There's another statement. There's another level of play that he can reach. That's going to be really interesting. How much of a hold does he take on the program this year? Because he's the leader. He's the leader now with 15 players drafted and most of that defense gone. He's the leader, and he's going to be the difference this year for Georgia. So it's going to be interesting.
The last thing I'm going to bring up is Brian Harsin at Auburn, because clearly what went on at the end of the last season was not good. The week that put his family through is not good. So he decides to walk in, I guess it was yesterday. He walks in yesterday and says, okay, I'm going to address it before you ask it. And this is the last time I'm ever going to bring it up. I didn't appreciate it. It ticked me off. It was bad for my family. And as you can tell, it didn't work. And look, I'm not convinced he's going to make it, because I don't think he's got a quarterback. And in this day and time, you better have one. But I admired the fact he just came right out and said what was on his mind.
He just went out there and said it. And the reporters, they didn't ask any questions. I think there were a couple of questions about it after he said that, but he wasn't answering them. He went out there and said, this is my statement. I'm sticking to it. I'm not going to answer any more questions about it. And I do admire that too. And that's what everybody was talking about. And he made an early statement that day. I mean, we talk about coaches saying things all the time, but the way he carried himself and Tank Bigsby, Auburn running back too, was very impressive as well. So after all that program went through in the past, 6-7 months, for them to look confident, appear confident, and say those things was pretty impressive. I think it's reassuring for Auburn fans now.
I don't think they have a quarterback.
Yeah, they don't have a quarterback.
That's a big problem.
That's a problem. That's a problem.
That is ultimately what may get him fired at the end of year 2.
And they're also in the SEC West. So
that's a problem.
That's another problem. This year's SEC West, George, I think could be the best division
NFC East
ever.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy. So,
okay, let me give you a little bit of an idea of what we're going to do from here on in. Stat of the day is next. Without Watson here, I'm in a solo, and that could be humiliating. Then a one-on-one interview that I conducted with South Carolina football coach Shane Beamer. That'll start the 5 o'clock hour. And then we will open the phones at 5:20. How quick can you put that number up there?
Oh, you caught me off guard, George.
Put you on the spot, baby.
There it is.
There it is. That was impressive right there. I want you to write that down, and then at 5:20 you hit the phones. This is Main Street Media Television. When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with a tractor trailer truck that hurt my legs so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Bart Durham Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
I think I think journalism is like politics. It's all local. And I think Main Street Media has really hit on something that I've been preaching for 50 years, and keep the news local, right? Local stories for local readers. And that's what I like about Main Street Media. I finally found somebody who agrees with me philosophically about concentrate on local subjects, local topics, and you'll bring your readers in.
Hey everyone, I'm John English. This is Keith Wallace, and we would like to welcome you to John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee.
We specialize in graded and ungraded sports and non-sports cards, vintage wax boxes, and unopened cases. We have a large selection of PSA graded cards. We also specialize in old sports collectibles, baseball, football, basketball, golf, and tennis. You can find it all at John English Antique Sports and Cards.
We are happy to be associated with Nashville's greatest sports antique, George Plaster.
Tell us about One Stop Realty.
So, as I've said before, George, One Stop Realty is the hometown brokerage for all your real estate needs. We've been around since 1974. I took ownership of the company in 2019. We've added agents. We have expanded into building up our property management. The growth with our agents is fantastic. We added 3 new agents in the past couple months. Angela Hyatt, Nathan Skelly, and Crystal Locke have all joined us, and they're going to be fantastic agents. They're ready to help you in all your residential, your commercial, property management, and auction needs. We are a family business, and we want to help your family find your next property in Middle Tennessee. Okay. Office number is 615-822-0750. My cell phone, 615-440-7011. Or the website, onestoprealtytn.com. And you can also find us on Facebook. I encourage everybody to go out and like and follow our page, just as the same we did with George Plaster.
Howdy. Okay. Out of a perfect score of 4 this week on Stat of the Day, and this is BGA math, 2.72 is where we are on a scale of 4. We're almost at 70%. I would like to knock down the door today, really end the week on a positive, but let's take a look at the question, Billy, and see where this is going.
Gotta talk about John English Antique Sports and Cards first.
He's taking a little shot at me in the commercial.
They are specializing in antique and historical sports equipment, games, advertising, and other sport-related items. You can visit John English Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee, open Tuesdays through Fridays from noon to 5 p.m. and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Visit JohnEnglishGradedCards.com.
Go see him tomorrow. That place is incredible. If you're a sports fan, there's no way you can't love that place.
All right, are we ready, George?
Oh, yeah.
The stat of the day for today. Which 2 SEC teams have had the most head coaches since Alabama hired Nick Saban? Which 2 SEC teams?
Okay. Saban was hired in 06 or 07. So we're talking about in a 15-year period. Mm-hmm. Let's start with an obvious candidate. Don't you say anything here. Vandy has had Clark Lee.
Yep.
They've had, before that, Derek Mason, James Franklin, Robbie Caldwell, Bobby Johnson. So that's 5. I'm going to put Vandy on that list.
Okay. Let me check that real quick, George.
Okay. And now I'll also think through Tennessee. Tennessee has had Jeremy Pruitt. Now they've had Heupel. They had Derek Dooley. Who they have before Dooley?
Lane Kiffin.
Kiffin was hired in 08. So Fulmer, Kiffin, I'd say it's 5 each. I think it's Tennessee and Vandy.
All right, George. I'm not giving you any hints today.
Oh,
I'm gonna
I don't want hints.
All right.
I think I'm right.
Confident George. Let's see if he's right. Arkansas and Tennessee. There have been 53 total of all SEC schools. Arkansas and Tennessee.
6?
Let's see. They had
Chad Morris.
Bobby Petrino.
May he rest in peace.
John. What was the John guy? They had before Petrino.
You're right about one thing. They've had John L. Smith, former Louisville
John L.
coach.
Smith.
They've had several.
Who was the interim before Pittman? Didn't they have an interim?
Yeah, and that may be
interim's not included. Never mind.
Well, how do we know that?
Oh, it's all
there. Yeah, where it says the words interim.
Need to make that bigger.
Okay, so I got 1 out of 2, 3.23 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, we were at 64.6%. That is not acceptable. But there's not a dadgum thing I can do about it. It's a whole lot easier to answer these questions off the air than it is on the air.
No Watson to help out either.
Yeah, maybe I'll cheat.
Big loss.
Okay, 5 o'clock hour is here. One of the really fun new faces in the SEC is Shane Beamer at South Carolina. It is hard not to like him. I want you to pay attention to this interview and notice the fact that he had done some homework about Nashville, Tennessee before he sat down and talked to me.
I'm doing well.
Him back in the late 90s when Virginia Tech played in the Music City Bowl. Tell me a little bit about how he influenced you and certain things you took from him to mold your coaching career.
Oh man, so much. Obviously as a coach and as a dad and everything that I've taken from him. Specifically to football, I would say, in our program, just the way that we treat people is very much something that I took from him. He always treated people the right way. He never changed with success. You've been doing this enough. There's a lot of head coaches, I'm sure, that you've been around that you maybe knew as an assistant, and then they become head coaches and all of a sudden they start acting a different way and whatnot. And not him. He was the same person from the time he got into coaching until the time he got out and went into the Hall of Fame. So just the way you treat people, the day-to-day consistency that he had of just never getting too high or too low. And then certainly being around him, you can't help but find an angle to be a part of special teams. And that's something that I've always done in my career. And then if you came and watched us practice, I think a lot of places would say that, we're very, I don't know if old school is the word, but, we're not, we get after it in practice, and that's something that he always believed in. And practicing, we don't do a whole lot of scout team work. It's a lot of, our best players versus our best players and competing and trying to get better. And those are all things that I took from him.
You beat me to the punch. In his career, he had this incredible special teams record of blocked punts, blocked field goals. Early on, was it coincidence? Was it totally they worked harder at it than anybody? And where have you taken that?
No, I think it was certainly they were very intentional about it. He will tell you that, for him, it started as they early on at Virginia Tech, they weren't as good or talented as the teams they were playing. And back then Virginia Tech wasn't in a conference. So they were playing, Miami, Oklahoma, Florida State, year in, year out, just because they weren't in a conference. So they were playing some pretty stiff competition. And that was a way he will tell you to kind of even the playing field a little bit, that put more emphasis on special teams. Use your very best players on special teams. He was the head coach, but he was also the special teams coordinator. So he coached every special teams unit himself and game planned and everything. So they were very intentional about it. And then we're able to have some success and create some momentum and some excitement about it. And then it just kind of took off from there.
People have sort of judged your first year and said he came about as close to getting 100% out of what they had to offer as they could. Do you buy that?
Not really. You know, as a competitor, you always feel like you can do better. It's flattering. Tell my athletic director that would help, you know, if they want to tell him that. But I look at it as, you know, I felt going into the season, we had the pieces in place to have a better season than what the expecting. Now, I didn't anticipate having to start 4 different quarterbacks because of injuries. There's no like blueprint for that. So if somebody had said, Shane, you guys are going to start 4 quarterbacks, lose your starting offensive tackle and one of your starting receivers to season-ending injuries midway through the year, you're going to win 7 and win 3 out of your last 5 against Florida, Auburn, and North Carolina. That may have been a little bit of a stretch, but, you know, we had some great young men in our program and they believed. And one thing that we did was continue to get better as the year went on. But certainly as a coach, a competitor, I look, the games we lost, you know, mistakes we made, either decisions I made or a play here, a play there that could have swung things in the other direction. And then even the games that we won, I mean, we won some close games at the end as well. So you realize what a thin line it is. And, you know, you always feel like you can do better than what you did. But I'm very proud of what we accomplished last season. I'm very proud of the fact that, you know, after we started 2-2, we never lost back-to-back games. Every time we lost, we always came back and won the next week. I'm very proud of the competitive spirit of this team because I think there were, I want to say 6 or 7 like fourth quarter comebacks that we came back and or something like that, not 6 or something like that. And we outscored every opponent in the fourth quarter, other than I believe Clemson. So we kept competing till the end. We had some come from behind wins. We had some wins when we were big underdogs. So I'm proud of that. But, you know, you're looking back at last season. Here's how we improved because you know this from covering it. That's in this league, you better not be sitting around patting yourself on the back too long. You better figure out a way to be even better this upcoming year.
It looks like on paper that you're not going to have the 4 quarterback thing again with bringing in Shane Rattler. I thought he got treated in a pretty rough manner at Oklahoma. Fans really got down on him. What do you think he can bring to you guys?
He's a great young man. You know, I spent 2 years with him at Oklahoma, and so I know what he's about as a person. I watched him lead us to a conference championship at Oklahoma, and I think the biggest thing is for him, he's obviously super talented, but for us, it's just the experience that he has. I mean, he's started a lot of college football games. He's been in a lot of big games. And we just don't have a lot of experience in our quarterback room. I mean, the oldest guy that we have and the most experienced player that we have in that room, other than Spencer, is Luke Doty. And Luke's going into his 3rd year in our program. But his first year was 2020, and he didn't play quarterback full time that season. He was playing other positions. And then last year was his first full year as a quarterback. And he was hurt and missed the majority of the season. So we just don't have a ton of experience. So Spencer brings that experience to that room. And then he brings the, just the confidence that he exudes that affects offense, defense, your entire team when you're out there on the practice field. And I'm excited he's here with us and excited to watch him play this year as well.
I had Shane on the brain. I called him Shane Rattler.
It happens.
Apologize to him for me. You brought up something. I saw this in an interview, and I am totally with you on this, that before a season ever starts, the Titans here play 3 preseason games. Everybody does that except college football. You brought it up recently. First of all, is there some rule prohibiting it? I didn't say that right, but stopping it from happening.
Yeah.
What would it take to make that happen?
Yeah, there is. You're not allowed to, even if we wanted to right now. And I guess it would just be a big push from, college football and the NCAA. And I've been talking about this for over 10 years. I mean, I remember talking about it when I was an assistant coach here at South Carolina with Steve Spurrier. And I don't know. It makes too much sense not to, because you're right. The Titans play the preseason games. The Vanderbilt basketball there in Nashville. I mean, they're playing exhibition games against people. Brentwood Academy and Lipscomb and whoever, Pearl Cone, all those guys. I mean, they're getting to play scrimmages against other teams before the season, and we don't. We practice when our players come here in August. We'll get her in roughly, I'm looking at it right here, 23 practices or so before we play a game. And that's 23 practices against each other. And then when we go out there for real, we're judged. I mean, it counts. And I would love to be able to scrimmage, play an exhibition against another team in the month of August to break up the monotony, would be great for the fans. I mean, there's just, I don't know. It makes too much sense to me. Apparently, there's a lot smarter people than I am, because it hasn't seemed to gain much traction.
Oh, I think you're dead on right. There's too much win-win not to do it. So let me kind of end this here. You guys not only went to a bowl game last year, but you beat North Carolina. Do you buy the whole that gives you momentum going into next season?
1,000,000,000%. I could give you the coach speak and it's just another game and all that. That would be lying. I mean, it certainly, anytime it gives you a little bit of just a better feeling and pep in your step when you've won the last game and people are feeling good about things. And that game was like, all games are big. All bowl games to me are exciting and a great opportunity. Some are bigger and mean more than others. And for us, we were coming off 2 great wins over Florida and Auburn, but our most recent game is we got beat at home, in convincing fashion by our in-state rival. And that was a really disappointing game, which led to, over a month before we played again. And I don't know how many people expected us to perform like we did that day. And it goes back to the kids that we have in this program and credit them. But to do it in Charlotte, which is a major recruiting area for us, where there's a ton of Gamecocks, to do it against North Carolina, who was a preseason top 10 team, it's a natural rival. It's a city that, frankly, South Carolina football hadn't had a lot of success in the last couple times they had gone up there. So to do that, we were undermanned. We were starting a new quarterback. 2 of our best players, 2 of our starters were sitting out the game. We had some guys miss the game for some off the field reasons as well. So we were really shorthanded, but to overcome all that adversity and play like we did has not, the fan base was already energized, but it's even more so now because of that game. And I was in Charlotte yesterday for an event. So every time I go up there, there's still tons of Gamecocks that live in that city and come up to me and talk about that was the most fun they've had at a football game and all that as well. So it was the excitement level in this program was already high, but that gave us just an added jolt as we go into the off season, because in between that Clemson game and the bowl game, that was when Spencer Rattler decided he was coming to Oklahoma or coming to South Carolina. That's when Austin Stogner decided to leave Oklahoma and come to South Carolina. So there was we had a great signing class in between that Clemson game and the bowl game. So it was already kind of building and getting back, but then that game just took it to another level.
I didn't mean to lie. I got one more thing I want to ask you. The first time I ever went in your stadium was in 1996. I was doing Vanderbilt games. We got crushed. And I remember I had this conversation with Todd Ellis. I said, this place is a sleeping gold mine. I said, you've got a beautiful stadium. You've got fans that are really passionate. So what is the ceiling at a South Carolina?
I really don't think there is one. And it's not telling people what they want to hear because I'm the head coach here. I look around and I say, okay, what do we need to win at the highest level, to win championships resource-wise? And what do we not have? And I still haven't figured it out. I mean, we've got an amazing, it's right outside my office window there. It's an amazing home field advantage. I've been in the ACC, SEC, Big 12. There's nothing like a Saturday in Columbia. We live in an amazing city. It's the capital of South Carolina. There's so many opportunities for our players after graduation and even while they're here because of the things that the capital city presents. We're the only show in town. We don't share it with other pro sports. It's a fantastic school to go to. It's a great city to live in. This football facility that our offices are in is, 3 years old and is better than anywhere that I've ever been as an assistant coach. We've got a recruiting base around us. We got great people, most importantly, in this program. So I know if you look at South Carolina football in their history, it's very 500 and with a few great seasons here and there. But I was here during a lot of those great seasons with Steve Spurrier, and I saw the players that we brought in here that we recruited. And that's what excites me, because we brought in all these great players and we didn't have all the resources that we have now. So to me, the potential is endless. I get it. We play in the toughest conference. Nobody in this league is slowing down. But, to me, that's a positive. You get to compete against the best, and all you have to do is look at the NFL draft every year, and the best players in the country are coming to the SEC. So we're able to recruit to that because every young man we recruit wants to play in this conference. So, continue to build your program to where it can compete in the SEC. And when you can win championships in the SEC, you're going to be in the mix for national championships as well.
This guy is impressive. I don't know all the ins and outs of South Carolina. I've been there twice and done games there. They've got a great facility, and they have a very passionate fan base for a group that really has not done a lot of winning. Billy, I think he has learned well from his father. If anybody's going to have success there, I think it's him.
No doubt about it, George. I mean, he's got the Gamecocks headed in the right direction in Columbia, no doubt.
Be interested to see what year 2 is like there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We have gotten our phone lines working, and this is an important piece of this for the success of this show. We have tried really hard, as I think most of you have been able to figure out, over the 2 weeks that we've been on the air to give you good content. Now we want your phone calls. Let's put that phone number back up there. 615-588-2998. I haven't gotten to do this in about 3 months, so I'm kind of excited about it.
Here we go.
I'm looking for red-blooded Americans.
There it is.
Who want to talk some sports. We will take your phone calls next. If you don't call us, we may call you. This is Main Street Media Television.
At Wellskin Dermatology and Aesthetics, we pride ourselves in providing access, innovation, and a patient experience second to none. Access to care and treatment when you need it. Innovation with medical-led cosmetics and various on-site technologies for full-service treatments with a customer experience that is calming, casual, and effective. Independently owned, providing medical, surgical, pediatric, and cosmetic dermatology and more. Visit wellskinmd.com to schedule your appointment today. Wellskin Dermatology and Aesthetics. Access to healthier skin.
Hey everyone, I'm John English. This is Keith Wallace, and we would like to welcome you to John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee.
We specialize in graded and ungraded sports and non-sports card, vintage wax boxes, and unopened cases. We have a large selection of PSA graded cards. We also specialize in old sports collectibles, baseball, football, basketball, golf, and tennis. You can find it all at John English Antique Sports and Cards.
We are happy to be associated with Nashville's greatest sports antique, George Plaster.
When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links. Tell us about One Stop Realty.
So, as I've said before, George, One Stop Realty is the hometown brokerage for all your real estate needs. We've been around since 1974. I took ownership of the company in 2019. We've added agents. We have expanded into building up our property management. The growth with our agents is fantastic. We added 3 new agents in the past couple months. Angela Hyatt, Nathan Skelly, and Crystal Locke have all joined us, and they're going to be fantastic agents. They're ready to help you in all your residential, your commercial, property management, and auction needs. We are a family business, and we want to help your family find your next property in Middle Tennessee. Office number is 615-822-0750. My cell phone, 615-440-7011. Or the website, onestoprealtytn.com. And you can also find us on Facebook. I encourage everybody to go out and like and follow our page, just as the same we did with George Plaster.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
You know, every once in a while, you get caught. It's easier to get caught on radio than it is on TV because they may never know what you've been up to. I'm learning. This is brand new stuff for me. Other than doing a Sunday night television show on Fox 17, I've never really done any TV. And it's interesting. You do a lot of hiding of things. You have wires you hide. You have pictures with whatever that maybe you want to hide, maybe you don't. By the way, I'm not hiding that. I'm very proud of that. If you're wondering, that was the 1995 edition of the Braves, who had a ton of pressure on them to win it all, and did the night that David Justice hit the homer against the Cleveland Indians. Anyway, I know we're going to take some phone calls.
Let's show that number again. Why not, George?
Why don't we? I think that's a good idea. We got 2 on the line.
There it is.
I want callers 3 and 4, and I want red-blooded Americans at 615-588-2998. Now, let me explain something on the caller part of this. On one hand, you can take the cynical view that this is my easy way of not doing any work, and that could be true. But there's also my belief that good callers make a show.
No doubt.
Man, they bring great stuff to the table. Sometimes they bring you info you don't know. You know, we're not robots. It doesn't guarantee just because I'm sitting in this chair that I know every last thing about every last thing. And so we've been gone for 4 days. Some things may have happened here. I have no clue. Educate me.
George, we are ready for the first caller.
Craig, down in my old stomping grounds of Memphis, Tennessee. Welcome.
Thank you, George. It's an honor to be on the show.
No, Craig, it's an honor to have you. You know, this is, I don't know if it's our first call. We tried on the first day and we just couldn't make it work. But go ahead. It is an honor to have you on.
Well, and you'll be happy to know that this red-blooded American wants to talk about the Atlanta Braves. And George,
I want to talk about the Atlanta Braves.
When you look at the Braves last year going towards the trade deadline, you know, they needed a lot of outfield help with Ronald going down right before the All-Star break. And, you know, they got Eddie Rosario, Jock Peterson, Adam Duvall, all these guys that came up huge in the playoffs. But now you look at the Braves and you're going to get Soroka back soon. You're going to get Ozzie hopefully within a month. They have the lowest bullpen ERA of at least any National League team. What's the weakness of this team? Is there any position that they can improve at the deadline?
Hold with me on this. First of all, a year ago, Alex Anthopoulos, good Greek boy. Just absolutely, look at that. Now you got your name in lights up there. Craig in Memphis.
It's not up yet.
That has to, not up there yet?
It's not up yet.
Oh, okay. Okay. First of all, Alex Anthopoulos, he fleeced some teams. Let me give you a for instance. What in the world were the Miami Marlins thinking? Whether they're the Florida Marlins, the Miami Marlins, whatever they are, the Marlins, they trade Adam Duvall straight up for Alex Jackson. Now, I know a little something about Alex Jackson because he had been in the Braves system. He can't play a lick. He is in AAA right now with another franchise, and yet anybody with a brain knew that that deal wasn't a fair deal. It wasn't strength for strength. The Braves fleeced the Marlins. You want to know why they haven't been any good for a long time? It's stupid trades like that where they give up a guy that's a 25 to 30 home run guy. Now, admittedly, last year he hit 38, and I think I'm right that he was tied for the National League lead in home runs. But that's the first thing, is the stupidity of some of the teams that were willing to trade with the Braves. They gave up virtually nothing, and they got Jorge Soler, who hit the big homer in Game 7. They got Jock Peterson. They got Eddie Rosario, who turned out to be, what was it, National League Championship Series MVP or World Series MVP, whatever he was a stud, and Adam Duvall. So I don't think you can look to believe that they're going to do that again. Surely to God, nobody is stupid enough to deal with them the way they did this last time a year ago. That said, my biggest fear right now with them is starting pitching. Charlie Morton, who pitches tonight against Ohtani, has not been anywhere near as good. He was lights out by this time a year ago. There's certain nights he's lights out, but then there's certain nights he's been very inconsistent. Max Fried has been awesome. Kyle Wright's given them more than anybody could have ever expected. But I think if I was going to pinpoint an area, get me another starting pitcher.
So, George, do you see maybe Luis Castillo as a possibility, the Reds starting pitcher?
Not really, and I'll tell you why. I think every contender is going after Luis Castillo. He's a piece of the Reds puzzle that's still there that they haven't gotten rid of yet. I think the price on him is going to be exceptionally high. He's really good. Man, you fit him into that rotation in Atlanta, and they're as good as anybody. They're as good as the Yankees at that point. But I just don't see them being able to dislodge Luis Castillo for anything other than a bunch of prospects that they no longer have because of the trade. That's the other thing. The trade of Matt Olson from Oakland. We've shipped off a bunch of prospects. I don't think they can do much more of that and keep a farm system going the way they want it.
And then I guess to switch from the Braves a little bit, George, with other baseball news, do you think Juan Soto will be traded anytime soon? And if he is traded, where do you think he would end up?
Okay, I'll let you hear this off air. Okay, so
Perfect.
most of
Thank
you know,
George.
Thank you for the call. I think most of you know what's been going on here. Juan Soto has turned down $440 million to go to, from the Nats. 15-year deal, $440 million. Billy, I think they believed that they were going to put an offer together that was so good that he was going to jump on it. I think what he is saying is, you can pay me all the money in the world. I'm not staying here.
He wants out and fast. He wants out of there as quick as possible. But George, he's incredible. I mean,
he's a line drive machine.
Justin and I were just talking about his home run derby performance. My goodness. I mean, he's a freak of nature, but the fact that he wants out of DC, that tells you a lot about how disarray. I mean, how much in disarray they are.
I think it's the normal suspects. I think it's the Dodgers. It's the Yankees. Could be the Angels.
We'll see. It's going to be interesting.
Red Sox. I don't see the Red Sox doing that.
It's going to be a big name organization, though. I mean, to pay him, he's going to want some money. But I do think he may take a pay cut just because he wants out of DC.
Here's the other thing that to me is very interesting is, okay, don't you have to, if you're going for him, if you're going to give up all these prospects, don't you have to essentially negotiate with his agent while the proposed deal is being proposed?
I mean, that's what it feels like.
Yeah. I mean, if you're the Yankees, let's just make them up because they're an obvious. If it's the Yankees and you turn around and you say, okay, he's coming to New York, and he says, well, great, but I'm not signing here. You got to know that ahead of time, don't you?
Yeah, his agent, he's got a pretty big job right now.
I do think it. Well, let me ask you this. I believe it will happen at the deadline. I don't think Washington's going to wait.
I don't think so either, but you never know. You never know. You got to believe Juan Soto is gonna want to push his agent. Let's get a deal done.
I think it's let's get a deal done with a good team.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll see. I have no clue where he'll land.
Sam over in Searcy, Arkansas. Welcome.
Oh, it is an honor to be on air with you, Mr. Plaster.
So tell me this. While you were on hold, what did you tell? Did you like the little machine that we had?
Oh, it's so high tech. I love it.
Go ahead.
Do you think you, as a Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer and your expertise, do you think that Kevin Durant will be traded, or is he stuck in Brooklyn?
Well, first of all, my opinion as a future Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer is no better than my opinion before the induction ceremony.
That carries some weight now, George.
You think so?
It does.
I think the only thing carrying weight is all that food from the varsity a couple of days ago.
That was good.
Okay, so it looks more and more like the Nets. First of all, the Nets appear to be in no hurry to get this thing done. Would you agree with that?
I'd agree with that, yeah.
Billy, you buy that?
Yeah.
So, number one, I don't think they want to make a trade. And now all of a sudden you're getting these vibes that what he really wants is to get Kyrie Irving the hell out of Dodge. Kyrie Irving's a whack job. The guy, there's no way I'd trade for him. What are you getting? I mean, this is one of the great talents in basketball, and nobody wants him because of the headaches. Now, the Lakers may be the team that ends up with him in some sort of a one-on-one, with Russell Westbrook. I'm not convinced that Kevin Durant's going to be traded.
I agree with that. I think it might be Kyrie somehow. If they can get rid of him, KD's fine.
Well, the obvious is the Lakers in a one-on-one for Russell Westbrook. That's the other thing I cannot figure out in this offseason. What is Russell Westbrook thinking?
He's trying to think about making a jump shot.
Yeah, look.
Yeah.
I think he's still got some ability.
His value has gone down a lot in the past couple years.
It was up here, and now it's down here with.
What are you grabbing here, George?
With that plug there on the fourth level.
George,
they can't see that.
His nickname is Russell Westbrook, West Brick now.
Nice.
I mean,
Red Brick.
Well, I mean, look, he's brought some of this on himself. He really has. Anyway, that's the NBA news for now. Sam, thank you for the call.
Hey, thank you so much.
Okay, put that thing back up there.
Number?
In the future, I'm going to want a lot more calls than this. I realize we sort of sprung this on you at the last minute. Now, let's put it back up there.
It's up there, George.
It is? It is now. Okay.
George, I got some explaining to do to you.
I'm sure you do. But that number represents your opportunity to get in and make a fool out of us.
I guess there's no more red-blooded Americans. I mean, I thought.
Oh, no, I think there are. Well, I think there are. I think we have to sell them.
We got to sell it. It's day one. It's day one, George.
Day one of phones for sure. Okay. You know, we will try a second segment of this. I'm looking for 2 or 3 of you to jump in on the line and really participate. After the break, we'll see if you're there. If you're not, we may call you. This is the George Plaster Show on Main Street Media Television. When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
For Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity to serve and satisfy their clients. Whether you are looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and remodel is unique, luxurious, completed on time, and within budget. Contact them today to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects by logging on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
At Sumner Funeral and Cremation, our mission is to serve families as our own, celebrate the life of their loved one, and help begin the healing process.
My whole family, including my wife and my mom and siblings, were very happy with the treatment that we received. I would highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation.
We offer funeral, burial, cremations, and pre-planning services.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
It's your last chance to get a spring tune-up for summer. Complete Service Heat and Air can clean your coils, check out your motor, and make sure you have cold air on that first hot day of summer. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. That's 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties. At WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics, we pride ourselves in providing access, innovation, and a patient experience second to none. Access to care and treatment when you need it. Innovation with medical-led cosmetics and various on-site technologies for full-service treatments with a customer experience that is calming, casual, and effective. Independently owned, providing medical, surgical, pediatric, and cosmetic dermatology and more. Visit WellSkinMD.com to schedule your appointment today. WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics. Access to healthier skin.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs, from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you. Okay, let's check in with our buddy Brian Stewart. He, of course, is the owner of One Stop Realty. Brian, I want you to kind of go back through a little of what you were talking about yesterday. 3 months ago, it was completely the seller's market, and the buyers were getting hammered. Now, all of a sudden, things have shifted a little bit. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, George, welcome back to nice, balmy Nashville. I don't know how the weather was down there at SEC Media Days, but I'm sure it was a cool climate controlled 74 in there, where you were staying. So going with what you were asking, buyers right now are basically seeing some relief. You have, of course, you have the interest rates that have risen up in the last few months and everything, and you've got inflation and all that good stuff. But what that's done for the buyer is that it's drove their offers home with the sellers now. So the sellers have been able to basically just name their price on their home. If we give them a CMA of, your home is worth $250,000, basically they're going and saying, well, let's go for $275 and putting as is on there for the buyers. Well, now it's shifted to where the buyers are actually able to start asking for concessions. And by concessions, I mean, they're maybe getting closing costs. They're getting home warranties. They're getting, better dates for closing. They're not having to close as fast or meet that seller's needs on a closing date. The shift is always there. It's just a matter of having an experienced agent, to be able to know when to strike when the iron's hot kind of thing. And now is the time for these buyers to kind of catch up to what they've been chasing after for the last year or two. And I feel like right now is a perfect time for a first-time home buyer who has literally just been through the ringer trying to find a home in their budget. I think now is the time to go out there and start looking and be able to make some headway in this market with it.
Okay, you've said it well. Tell people how to contact you, whether it's later today or starting early next week.
Yeah, we're as a realtor, we're always, if our phone's on, we're working. So it's basically all the time. You can reach us at 615-822-0750 in the office. Look for us on the internet at onestoprealtytn.com. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. I would encourage everybody to go and give us a like and a follow. We keep you up to date with our social media on what's happening in this market with all our new homes and open houses that are going on. You'll be the first to know if you follow One Stop Realty.
Beautiful. Brian, have a good weekend. Go Braves.
Oh, I'm waiting for tonight. We got Ohtani and Morton on the mounds. It's going to be a great night tonight.
Charlie Morton will have to pitch one of the best games of his season.
Oh, absolutely. And, how many times can you say that not only is Ohtani a threat pitching, but we also have to have Morton strike him out? I mean,
no need for the DH there.
That's right. It's going to be a great night of baseball. Go Braves.
Have a good one. Absolutely. Okay, Billy, let's talk a little bit. Since we've been gone, a couple of things have happened. I'll start with the Preds because I think they have gotten better with the signing that they made earlier this week. And now the rumors are out that they're trying to figure out how to get Matthew Tkachuk.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that they're going to pull it off because it's going to require some real wheeling and dealing. It'll probably involve trying to move somebody else to free up enough money to make this happen. I'll admit, I hope it does.
Big stuff coming up. I mean, I don't know when this might happen, but it feels like the buzz has been building the past couple of days with Matthew Tkachuk, and every Predator fan is on the tip of their toes right now, waiting on this. So with Nino Niederreiter in the program, in the organization,
in the fold,
he's back in the fold. Yes, he's later in his career. He's getting old, but he's still got a few good seasons left in him, I think. And then if you bring in Matthew Tkachuk, look out, because the David Poile may have salvaged a little bit of damage that happened the last couple years.
Here's to me where it was. His off season, he needed one of the best off seasons he's had in his general manager career. And he averted what I think was going to end up being his demise if he hadn't gotten Philip Forsberg. And so he's able to get that done near the 11th hour. And there have been a couple of other moves. The Ryan McDonough move was a good one. Luke Cunnin will probably enjoy a change of scenery. San Jose might pick something pretty good. And I'm saying that I'm biased. Luke and I got to be friends. He did a radio show with me. He was on once a week. And
so So you're telling me you jinxed him. You got him.
Well, he wouldn't be the first one. I've gotten virtually every player that I've ever had with the Predators that did a radio show. They've all gotten traded.
What kind of a spell are you putting on these guys?
I don't know. I told Poyle, I'm sick and tired of this.
We don't need you hanging around any more players.
No, I'll work one out with Forsberg. Let's see him trade him.
Oh my.
Yeah. Since I guess he's got no trade, doesn't he?
No, I mean he's locked in.
That's what I mean.
He's locked in.
They can't trade him.
But
he's
you never
the one
know.
I need to go after.
No.
So I just think that this move, if they could pull it off, would sort of put the icing on the cake for the offseason that I think he desperately needed.
Yeah.
I think this team at the end of the season was on a banana peel.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't stop anybody defensively. They got Ryan McDonough. That had to be a big help to them.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of things they've done that I think has energized a fan base that was sort of, excuse me while I pull that puppy out of my ear. I think there were a lot of ticket buyers that were sort of undecided. Do I want to go there again?
Yeah.
And I think now these are the kind of moves that get you extra ticket buyers.
I was surprised by the last month by the Preds and Poyle. I was kind of pleasantly surprised because I didn't expect much this offseason. Now, as a Preds fan, I wanted a lot this offseason, but I didn't expect all this to happen. So, there's a lot of Preds fans, George, that after the last couple years, they've taken a hit. I mean, it's taken a hit. But now it feels like this is David Poyle has pressed the revitalize button a little bit on this franchise. And, he's done a tremendous job this past month with the Preds.
He has. And look, you have to be fair about it. He has done a very good job in the offseason. And frankly, the need for a great offseason was through some screw-ups of his. Now, you can also make the argument that every general manager, if they are out there long enough, is going to end up with some duds.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is he'd had one or two too many over about a 3-year period.
It just got to be a little bit too many duds. And I mean, as a Preds fan, it was shocking at the last couple of years at how they went. I mean, you look at the crowd too. I mean, we talked about it, George, during the playoffs. That wasn't a normal atmosphere at Bridgestone Arena.
No, it felt like everybody knew what was coming. I felt like I knew what was coming. I told friends of mine the best they can hope for in this series is 4-1. If they can pull one game out, and to be honest, their best shot at that was game 2 in Colorado.
Yeah.
But it felt like sweep all along. And I think you saw a gap. Listen, this is a franchise that as an 8 seed has won a series, ripped the Blackhawks 4-0 as an 8 seed. So this is a fan base that has expected a little more than a limp-in 8 that has no shot. And frankly, they should have been a 7, and they screwed it up on the last night with a goaltender that, look, I've used this. This is not very pretty. David Riddick couldn't stop a beach ball at the end.
Yes, he can.
No, he couldn't. I mean, that's part of why they were in that mess is they had a backup goaltender they couldn't trust.
George, that game did me in on the season.
Yeah.
I had a little bit of hope watching that game. I mean, excited. And then towards down the stretch, you lose with 1 millisecond left on a buzzer beater shot, on a buzzer beater goal in hockey. That never happens. That has never happened. And for the Preds to lose that way, it just kind of did me in. I think a lot of Preds fans would agree.
If you if you back me into a corner and you say, do I think this final move is going to happen? I don't.
Me neither.
I think there are too many things that would have to be done for it to happen. But my hope is that David Poyle is exploring every last possibility to make it happen.
Yeah, and we've seen this with the Titans. They may miss on a guy, but they get the next best player they can. They're not given up all hope and kind of in give up mode. They go out, say they don't get Kachuk. Let's go get somebody else. Let's go grab the next best player. So I think that's what Preds fans also want.
So we're near the end of the show, and recently that has not meant for good times.
No. I think you've put a lot of people in debt, George. So I'm not super excited. I haven't been.
You think anybody pays any attention to this stuff?
George, I don't know. I mean,
I'm asking.
I don't know that people are following your bets, but I think in baseball, they expect better. So
I expect better.
We all do.
Hell, I expect a 5-0 lead to hold. It didn't last night.
That was tough.
Oh, listen.
You survived, though.
Oh, I was pissed.
You didn't even see the end of it.
No, but I saw Darren Ruff's grand slam homer that tied the game. You know what we'll do? Let's go ahead and go to the break. And then Plaster Bet of the Day is coming up. We'll review first to get to the happy news. Stick around. This is the George Plaster Show on Main Street Media Television.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs, from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you.
For Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity to serve and satisfy their clients. Whether you are looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and remodel is unique, luxurious, completed on time, and within budget. Contact them today to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects by logging on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with a tractor trailer truck that hurt my legs so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Bart Durham Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
Oh, yeah. You can point all you want. You're pointing at a winner.
What?
Do you remember when Buddy Ryan said at a press conference when he got named the coach of the Arizona Cardinals, he said, there's a winner in town and you're looking at him. And
that's
then
a load of BS.
And then he bombed out at Arizona. Okay, let's go back to last night and what it was we got done.
What you needed that, George.
I needed it desperately.
You needed that desperately. You couldn't have fallen to 2-6. Now you are 3-5, and you're still bowl eligible. 3-5.
Is that what it is? Bowl eligible?
Yeah.
So I had the Dodgers last night at home. They're up 5-0 in the 7th inning, and they gagged it. Gave up a grand slam homer to Darren Ruff. Right as I walked in my house, he hits the thing a ton, and you knew when he hit it, it was gone. All of a sudden, it's 5-5. An inning later, it's 6-5 in favor of the Giants. And then Klay Thompson's brother, who is basically
Trace.
Yeah, Trace is a
young player,
but also has bounced around a little bit. He certainly is not in baseball what Klay Thompson is in hoops. He hits a bomb off the wall a triple that tied the game at 6-6, at which point I should have been fired up, but I fell asleep.
How does
I don't know.
After a grand slam?
I don't know. Only to discover.
You must have had the volume down.
Only to discover that 2 batters later, Mookie Betts won it for me. Nashville Overton product.
Pride of John
homer.
Overton.
Bingo. So we're 3-5, and this is how we end the week in style. Oh, yeah.
Philadelphia.
Phillies at home. Now, Kyle Gibson, right-hander with the Phillies, has pitched well. Steele has been pretty darn good for the Cubs. That's the one thing that scares me. However, the Phillies at home, kind of cheap at -135. We're going with them.
Can George stay hot?
2 in a row, baby. And then we come back next week with a ton of momentum.
You can only afford one more loss.
To be bowl eligible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take your bowl and
shove it.
Yeah, why not? Monday, we got a great show for you. First hour, MTSU Athletic Director Chris Massaro will join us, and we're going to talk to him about the fact that the University of Memphis, MTSU, there are a lot of really good schools that are being basically left to die. And how do you put a program together while all that seems to matter are 2 superpowers, neither of which you're a part of? That's what we're going to do during the 4 o'clock. And then Boston Celtic and former Vanderbilt basketball star Luke Cornett will join us at 5 o'clock. Big Luke signed a contract with the Celtics.
We'll join Jordan Stallings.
This is true.
Yes.
Yep. So all of that and more Monday. Until then, all of you drive safely wherever you're going. Enjoy the 100-degree heat and have a great weekend. This is Main Street Media Television.